350. The other date's around 590 from what we understand. So I believe that's what I've been told was that's when a monk named Elijah came and joined the work here. He began his work here. So 350, 590. That's about what I know. It doesn't matter. According to American standards, it's really old. Anyway, we look at it. So we're going to keep going right. Ancient meets modern. There was a Russian tank sitting in this vicinity. We, the U.S. forces, during the invasion, we were coming this way. The tank fired on us. We fired on it. And from what I understand, what happened is when we fired on the tank, like a jack-in-the-box, you know how the lid just pops off? The turret of the tank popped off and slammed into the side of the monastery. So this is not done from decay or anything. So this is battle damage. The walls are this wall here is probably close to 6 feet thick. The very top up there, that's the chapel itself, and its wall is probably a couple feet thick. So we're probably talking about maybe at least 8 feet thick walls here. So when we go on into the inside of the chapel, one of the first things you'll notice is the damage that was sustained inside. All of these boxes and all the connects, they've just been brought out here in the last, just right before Christmas. What we're doing, last week, we finally got approval from Baghdad. We've been working with the PRT, and we've been looking at doing a restoration project. It's going to be a 3-phase thing. One part's going to be to build like a superstructure over the top of the chapel to protect it from the elements. The second part will be to refurbish this, and what these boxes are, they're taking all the rocks, separating the rocks from the mortar, and they're taking the mortar, firing it, crushing it, and grinding it. And so the goal is to use. And I was told that there may be some big booms this morning, so be prepared. So what they're going to do is take the mortar and the rocks that are here and put it all back into the wall. So that's the second part, and then the third part is to do a stabilization on the inside of the chapel itself, where they're going to build like an arched brace to help hold the chapel up and support it more. So that's what all of this is about. Most of what you see was built in the 15th and 16th centuries. And you can tell how it's been built in different stages. Like down here, right, there's this, it looks like a door or a window that's been closed in. Right before you get to that door, there's an inner wall that goes back. And I'll try to make sure I point that out to you when we get on the inside. And with that, we'll I'll just make a few brief comments here. One of the first things my commander asked me was where was the water source. From what we understand, this is a branch of the Tigris back here. So we understand that to be probably their primary water source at that time. There's a Republican Guard compound to our rear that was built in the 70s, and there were annual pilgrimages here until about when those guys came and moved in next door. There were some pilgrimages after that, but pretty much that ceased. You'll notice over on the far side, back behind the boneyard, there's some really defined terracing. So what we think there was, well, you can't really see it now because of all the greenery, but a few months ago you could see some olive trees and different bushes over there, fruit. So that's what they think. All of this area was probably planted with fruit trees and orchards and vineyards and all kinds of stuff. Ample room to graze sheep and goats and all that kind of stuff. So it was a self-sustaining kind of place. But we're not sure what we're standing in. From what I've been told, at that time, at some point there was an orphanage affiliated with the monastery, but you know, we don't know if this was additional living space, if this was workspace, or what it was. From what we understand, there's been virtually no archaeological work done here, so it's really hard to tell what actually this purpose or this area served as a purpose. So, and with that, we're going to head right on. Yeah, they changed out to a different type of unit.
It's always been a BCT since I've been in Assyrian. I just come in with all that actually.
Oh, okay. There's a lot of speculation on what this was, but from here's what the educated guess is. One, that it is not a cistern. A cistern, you know, where there's an additional water reservoir, because we think the cistern is over there. We don't think it's a well because the well is on the inside. The educated guess is that it is a supply place, you know, where a storage facility, where maybe like a wine cellar, a fruit cellar, or you know, a place. This would have been. This is a part of a dome ceiling, so this would have been dome, and it would have been able to probably keep pretty constant temperature throughout the year. There's I think maybe a doorway sort of underneath where I'm standing. And the reason we think that is there's another big open pit over here, but it's not just an open pit. There's a back here when you cross, when you go inside of it, you'll see where was an arched ceiling here, and so we think that this is a way into the storage facility. So, and just for a little bit more speculation, I mean, we're not on ground level. I mean, that's ground level over there. We're probably at least 20 feet or more up, or high over there. So I'm just not sure that, you know, who knows? We may be walking on the ceilings of stuff. There's just no way to know, y'all. Just no way to know what all exactly is here. But it's pretty cool stuff, to say the least. We're going to keep going.
The door he talks about.
The cistern was, you can come over here and get a peek down into it. There's no there's no entrance, there's no exits, there's no wall or windows or doors. So if you come over here, you can really get a good sense of and see how deep it is, and you can see it a little bit better from the inside. So we won't linger here. To give you a quick timeline, in 312, the Emperor Constantine converted to Christianity. In 313, he signed the Edict of Milan that made Christianity a legal religion in the Roman Empire. He didn't make it the official religion, that didn't, but it was at least a recognized legal religion. During his conversion process, Constantine had a vision, a dream, if you will, and he saw a sign in the sky, and he had this vision of a sign and heard a voice that said something to the effect, "In this sign conquer." So he adopted this symbol. What the symbol was a chi rho. It was a chi it looks like a net. For those who know a little bit about Greek, it looks like an X, and a rho looks sort of like what we think like an elongated P. Anyway, if you're Roman Catholic, you've probably seen your priest wear vestments that have this chi rho on it. Very, very unique and just a common Christian symbol. Anyway, Constantine had this thing emblazed on everything, and coins, and on his soldiers' shields and everything. The reason I'm telling you this is because if you talk to someone else that's been on this tour, and they'll say, "Well, did he say anything about the chi rho?" And so I say it just to tell you. Some think that this is a chi rho, or at least a form of it. Personally, this is just Jay's Padgett speaking. I think it's a bridge too far. Some think that this might have been the row, the row where it looks like a P, and this has been defaced and chopped off. A chi is very much more like an X, but it's you can definitely see a cross, right? So to me, I don't know about the whole story about the chi rho being there, but you can definitely see the cross, and that sort of looks like a welcome mat, for the pilgrims who have come from all over, and they need a place of rest, and or they need some assistance of some sort, and they know that they can come here and they get some assistance. So it definitely looks like a cross, and you can see that. We'll just go on in now. Minutes for y'all just to look, all right? That'll be easier than me trying to, and it would be quicker than me trying to lead. I don't know how many people, 20-something people into each and every one of these rooms. So, all right, here we go. At the time that when this facility began and the ministry began here, of course, there was no Xerox machines, and Gutenberg's press hadn't been thought of for about another 1,000 years. So one of the things that we think is this upper room here, where there's 3 windows, where it would let an ample supply of light in during the day. A monastery like this would have had a place called a scriptorum, a place where scripture, especially scripture, would have been painstakingly written by hand. So we think that probably would have been the scriptorum. There's 18 different rooms. When you came through this little entranceway, even when you come through there, you might have been able to notice a couple things. One, there was a dome ceiling, and then on your right as you came in, there were a couple of niches or alcoves. More than likely, they would have had an icon, or maybe a crucifix or a cross there. There's one of those in all of these rooms except for 3. This first one, this first room was as big as the top room, but it's been subdivided. So if you go into this room, if you look at the ceiling, you'll notice that the arch ceiling keeps going, and you can see some light into the other room where you can definitely see that it's been subdivided. This next little room next door to it, on the other side, you do see the alcove, but you also see a raised platform area made of concrete There's one there, and this next room there's two. There's one on this side, there's one on this side, and there's two rooms right over there that have this raised platform, I call it a pad, on each side of the wall. So there's four there, two there, one there. I'm not sure what purpose, but some seem to think that it may have been like a raised area to put a mat of straw or sleep upon. The big opening right over there, it's very unique because it's the only one like it in the facility. It does have the dome ceiling, but the dome part comes down in the back and then it stops, and you can look behind it and it looks like what maybe might have been a flue type system to let draft in, let smoke out. So and there's soot marks on the ceiling, so the educated guess is that might have been like a bakery or the kitchen or something. Very, very unique. The far room in the far corner, that's off limits. The floor is starting to buckle and bust, so you'll notice that. Keep coming around this way. That first room, that's another room that does not have one of these little alcove niche kinds of things, but its claim to fame for me is when you go in, you'll notice that there's some ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, where the Iraqi army, somebody was teaching folks English, or at least our alphabet. You'll notice a lot of, especially as you just came in, there's a lot of Arabic graffiti. There is some American graffiti, but most of it's Arabic. The next room right here in front of us, it's a distinguishing characteristics. It has one of the large alcove kind of places over here, but when you immediately walk in, you'll see a real small one. I don't know what that's got two. I don't know why. It also has, if you look in the center of the room, about well, for me, arm's distance, but right in the center, you'll see a couple nails on each side with about 2 to 3 inches of 550 cord on it. So evidence that we've been here. The Iraqi army used this as a garrison, and we did too. Right in front of us, this is the well, or what's left of the well, and then over there we believe that to be the cistern where maybe there was an extra reservoir of water. When you peek over into it, you'll notice that it's just an arch ceiling that comes up like that. You have to get over across that little thing pretty good to see there's a couple of skillets in there, frying pans. The Iraqi army used it as a latrine and a dump, and then we come in and we pour fuel down it. We set the thing on fire, and that's why that's off limits, because we're not sure what that's done to the stability, the fire. But that whole room is just charred with smoke. But you can get a real good sense of how deep the thing is there. These two rooms I mentioned already, that it's got those raised pads on all four corners. Two really nice windows right there that have marble for decorating and you can see where marble would have gone other places. But those are probably the best two windows. I think there's 3 doors that have marble still around. In the very corner over there, see where the big arch is? When you go over there, it's the room the entrance right before the arch. But when you go into the room before the arch, you'll notice that there is a closet. And so you can go into the closet, or you can stand there where that arch is, and you can see this window. And the window is canted at a I'm looking from the outside now, but it's at an angle. If you go inside that room and you look and you squat down and you look eye level, from there you'll be looking into the eastern sky. What's really unique about it is you raise up a little bit and you look out the window that's over there, and you look this way. Right across the courtyard there's an exact room on this other side. So when you go into it and you look down or squat down and look, you're looking into the western sky. Speculation there is it might have had something to do with sunrise, sunset, the astrology. I remind you we're in the cradle of civilization. They excelled in many things, but astrology was one of them. This is the inner wall that I was telling you about here. On the other side of this wall, there's places where you can probably get up and climb. There's supposed to be a sign there that says off limits, so don't climb there. In the corner over there, in both of these corners on the other side of this wall, both rooms are off limits because of just falling rocks, and so it's a little bit of a safety hazard. I think I'm done. So, all right. How about 15 minutes or so? And just you can have at it, peek in. Notice on all of those little alcove places, there's no rhyme or reason. Some are tall, some are short, some are wide, some are narrow, some are deep, some are shallow. It all just gives each room a little bit of characteristic.
Doors are small, huh? Go inside here.
What's that?
Go in here.
Cool.
Very big place. Very big place.
It's weird they have like those windows that don't go anywhere.
This is just like shelves.
Yeah.
That was the deal there.
Way to cuss in the chapel.
Yeah, I guess.
There's a great
Oh yeah.
This is really. How are you? This is an incredible place too.
Can't see shit.
It's too dark.
What we had.
It's deep though.
A lot of water.
There's no water in there.
No, but like I want to say it was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, you can book them up. Okay,
I'm talking about Googling some stuff from way back in the day. See, it just look like small shelves though. I mean, that's not very wide if you look at it. It's about as wide as my hand. Where they going?
The light at the end of the tunnel, you can actually see it from there.
Oh, is that it in there?
I mean, yeah.
Ah, this is that window he was talking about where you look up, see the...
Oh,
He said this was east or west. This is east, right?
this is.
Yeah, east.
Yeah.
I said the other one was west.
Or the remains of it there. You remember I told you that we used it as a garrison. This is definite evidence that we've been here, other than the 550 Corps. But
101st Screaming
Yeah.
Eagles.
they put that, they painted the Screaming Eagle there, and one of their chaplains, I don't know if it was battalion level, brigade level, or division, one of them brought it to their superiors' knowledge, and so from that time on, it's been, this place has been put in the purview of chaplains. So I have a key. There's a key at the V dock, so pretty much the only people that can get in here and bring people like you in here are chaplains. The PRT has access to it, and we've got some of our engineers who are helping us. They have access to it, just like this big stone here. They brought a crane in last Sunday. I mean, just this past Sunday. They brought a crane in, and they brought this thing in over these walls and put this here. This down on this end, you'll see the baptistry, and this is going to be the new step at the baptistry. And this is one aspect of what we're trying to do as far as refurbishing a little bit. But, with that, we'll just go on in.
Oh, wow.
We'll just come over to our right. Let everybody in.
Wow.
Let's put the wooden piece above the door outside. More than likely, these things just probably structural.
Did you get that?
If y'all come around this way, let me just show you a couple things, and then. All right. Well, first off, that's the primary damage. You got the turret slamming into the wall. That's the primary damage that it did there. All of these walls, like this front wall, it's pretty unscathed. You know, I mean, there's a couple cracks, but all four sides of this facility would have looked like that pre-2003 or pre-invasion. So this is the most damaged. If you see up there at the top, there how it sort of got shifted off of this whole seam in the front has shifted. Same thing in the back. This big, large conglomerate that I'm standing on once stood up there, or once hung from up there, that was up there. Right up there, I'm expecting another part to fall right there additionally, but this is part of what we're going to do, is that they're going to build like it's an arch brace that they're going to put up there to help stabilize this whole thing. I'm not exactly sure. I've seen the plans, but I'm not an engineer and I don't understand it. To our back, we have the baptistry, representing baptism of Christ. We're standing in the sanctuary representing the life and ministry of Christ, and there's the altar representing the death and sacrifice of Christ. This is a really nice piece of work here. It's this really nice niche. You can see it's a shell. A shell is a symbol is a Christian symbol for baptism. It's also a symbol of enduring persecution or endurance during tough times. I'm sure most all of you have heard the story or understand how a pearl is made. A piece of sand gets in the oyster and it secretes a substance that coats the grain of sand to help reduce the irritability of it. Right at the very center of or right beneath the shell, there's a cross. You see the cross? And then right underneath the cross there is writing. And from what I've been told, there for a long time they said the left part over here was difficult to decipher. But what I've been told, it says something to the effect, and this is my paraphrase of paraphrases, something to the effect of Lord bless, or we pray for, or we remember. It's a commemoration of one named Deacon Abraham. So like Lord bless, or we pray for Deacon Abraham. That's the best translation, and that, from what I understand, that's what that says. There's not a whole lot else to say. You'll notice there's this one area here that's decorated in blue. You'll see this blue all around the wall, the front. From what I understand, is that whole area would have been very ornately decorated in this very beautiful blue. If you look in if you go inside where the altar is, back on the altar up on the wall, you'll see more of this blue. It's very, very beautiful, part what you can't see. Down here lower, you can see like what I would call maybe a vine or maybe like an olive branch. I don't know, the whole area would have been very ornately decorated, very beautiful. Founded, what we understand about its demise was in 1743, a Persian ruler by the name of Nadir Shah came to power. And this fellow just wreaked havoc all over this area. And he not only did this here, but he did it elsewhere. But for the people that lived here, he basically gave them three options. Leave, hightail it out of here. Convert to Islam, renounce your Christianity, convert to Islam, or the third option was die. And so the 150 or so people who lived here and worked here, they didn't leave, they didn't convert, so they all chose death. And in 1743, from what we understand, that basically brought the ministry of the monastery to a close. And from that time on, it's just said here, from different dictator or president or whoever was in power from then on, it's just been here. So let me just quickly remind you how I think it's a big privilege for us to be here today. If this was a place under, I've been telling the tours, if this was a United States park, the Park Service, United States Park Service, would probably have one of those nice velvety ropes right there, and we would just be able to peek in. A lot of places around here. Archaeologists, every archaeological outfit in America would probably be up in arms, knowing that we're just stomping and walking over no telling why. But you notice I have a cross. I'm a Christian chaplain, and there's probably other reasons, but I'll end with this one. Why is it a privilege here? We're standing in a place where Christians once worshipped. Plain and simple. That means a whole lot to me. And I will confess, since we're in church, I will confess that me, Jay Padgett, I say things, I do things, and Lord knows I think things in ways every day that in ways that I renounce my faith. And so I pray today for all of us, will be a day of renewal, a recommitment to our faith, where our faith can be renewed and restored in God. Let me tell you, here's the way I've ended every tour since I've started. I end my tours with a word of prayer. And if you happen to not be Christian, you can just, when I start praying, just ease on out or start on leaving now. I'll say a quick prayer.